dreamed I would marry the preacher. Pa thought a farming man would do. And I, tender and green, fancied I'd choose between two fair lads I knew. But my path led down to the river, and the river led down to the sea, and the sea, it led to a distant land where my no one waits for me. Wind and wine, bend and find, both my mind and my heart I must follow. Field and fern, yield and yearn, will I return in the spring like a swallow. Oh, to be like this wise wandering water, ever unblemished by the oar, beyond heartache and strife, silent witness to the night on the passing shore. I don't know the route of the river, I don't know the source of the sea, but I know I won't find my way back home till I reason who I be. Wind and wine, fend and find, both my mind and my heart I must follow. Field and fern, yield and yearn, will I return in the spring like the swallow.
If you're trying to get lost anywhere, there's plenty of roads that'll take you there, from the well-worn path to the one that's little knowed.
But if you want to know the place I love and trust, and you got yourself a little bit of wanderlust, you got to spend a little time with us on the river road.
River road, spun long and slender, on a path the water carved out long ago.
River road, unpredictable and tender, what I'd give for just a glimpse of what you know. For a glimpse of what you know. For 5 generations in the corn-crack hills, we scratched out a living with our wits and tills, coming home each night with our bodies tired and bold.
We farmed on every gap and ledge till the plow gave way to the miner's sledge, and the steel mills here on the edge of the river road.
We raise up our youngins and we raise them right to pull their weight
And be polite.
and never take more than what is rightly owed.
To speak the truth when you speak your mind, and to always help the neighbor when they're in a bind.
Nobody's ever left behind on the river road. River working and playing and dancing and loving strong.
True as a vein in a dark old mine.
Hard as the iron on the mountain spine. All the folks round here who hold the line with the going gets rough along the river road. Spun out long and slender on a path the water carved out long ago. River road, unpredictable and tender. What I give for just a glimpse of what you know. For a glimpse of what you know. 24/7 you could hear the squeal of the brake shoes scraping on the freight train wheel, slowing down a highball hog with a heavy load.
But then they close the mine and the steel mills too, so the trains just whistle where they barrel right through. They got
Better things to do down the river road.
The young folks fly away more and more. Ain't nothing much here worth staying for. It's a gold rush out of here that it can't be slowed.
They scatter like seeds on a windy day, but I tell you they're gonna miss this piece of clay, and they'll head back home by way of the river road. River road, spun out long and slender on a path the water carved out long ago. River road, unpredictable and tender. What I'd give for just a glimpse of what you know. For a glimpse of what you know. So come spend a little time with us on the river road.
That's not quite the ringing of the bell I had in mind. Oh, greetings, friends, and welcome to Unity Church-Unitarian. We take this time each week to gather to draw together the courage to do what needs to be done. It sounds like powdered milk biscuits. And I'm Karen Gustafson. I am the interim pastoral care minister here. I'm sharing the service this morning with Betsy Hearn. And following the service, we will be delighted to greet you in the why do I keep forgetting this word? In the foyer. If this is your first time here, we are particularly happy to see you. We would like you to complete one of the visitors cards that is in the pew rack. And if you're new online, we would invite you to complete those forms that are also available on the website. So I also want to offer a special welcome to our musicians today who have already graced us in ways that we may be able to just go home now. So, in the coffee hour, we expect people who have been here for a while to greet those who are new. Otherwise, there will be consequences. Let us begin our service with the prelude.
Row by row by row, that's the only way I know that you can plant a field. Sowing seed by seed by seed, knowing some of them won't lead to any kind of yield. You can blow away a mountaintop in seconds flat, and just like that, 300 million years of coal revealed. But row by row by row, that's the only way I know to plant a field. Day by day, I think that's the only way that you can change a heart. Touch by touch by touch, it doesn't seem like very much, but that's the way to start. Shout a slogan from a mountaintop. There are millions who will follow you. They'll join right up and proudly do their part. But one by one by one, that's the way I've seen it done. That's the way to change a heart.
Destiny itself is like a wonderful wide tapestry in which every thread is guided by an unspeakable, tender hand, placed beside another thread and held and carried by 100 others. These words by Rainier Maria Rilke reflect a metaphor that helps me make sense of life. It's the image of weaving life's tapestry. We choose threads of different colors and weights. We place them near or far from others. We weave in patterns, some for a brief time, others over the course of years. It isn't until we have been weaving for some time that we might think to pause and look behind us to behold the story, themes, sections of disharmony and of beauty. Then we turn to our weaving again. The challenge is to remember to balance both the weaving and the contemplation of the tapestry. Let us join in this contemplation. Come, let us worship together. Please join me in these words for our chalice lighting by Deborah Burrell. Fire consumes and casts a bright light. May our chalice flame consume our regrets for the past, our fears about the future, and our worries about today. May it light for us a path of joy and peace.
Please join me in our responsive reading that is printed in your order of service. Blessed are they who have grown beyond their greed. But they delight in ways that things are and keep their secrets open day and night.
They are like trees planted near flowing rivers, which bear fruit when they are ready.
Their leaves will not fall or wither.
Everything they do will succeed.
Please be seated. Well, each time we gather for worship, we set aside a moment to expand the caring ministry of this congregation. Together, we recognize the cycles of life and death, the circle of love and compassion and witness that is the center of this and every sacred community. We join with parents and teachers and all those whose primary spiritual practice is the care of children. With those who live with grief or chronic pain, with illnesses, seen and unseen, with mental disability or addiction. We pray for our neighbors in prison, those who care for family members in ill health, those who are struggling to stay afloat in the midst of poverty. Our lives are blessed by those who knowingly and with curiosity and courage face their final days. We pray for those in harm's way and for the strength of the leaders of the world and for the people of this courageous congregation as together we live into our longing to embody the beloved community. Our hearts open today in love and condolence to the family of Nancy Garrett, whose dear father, Joe Garrett, died yesterday at the age of 85, embraced by his family. He was over the top and always had a plan to help, including helping raising each of her children in his home once a week for the last 15 years. He will be greatly missed. And we hold in love and care the family of Barb Svoboda, whose brother-in-law, Rick Edwin Spatz Jr., died on July 2nd at the age of 71 in Williamsburg, Virginia, after a 6-month battle with cancer. Rick was much beloved, and his passing was much too soon. And now I invite you to speak into the silence the names of those you hold particularly in your heart today. Let us pray. Eternal Spirit, present to every moment of our lives, we open our hearts and minds to your abiding presence. By you, we are known in all of our complexity, our desires which exceed our grasp, our hopes beyond our control, our joys and sorrows that find limit in their encounter with each other. Help us to own the vulnerability embedded in our humanity, to accept our inherent worth in the face of the illusion of perfectibility, and to claim and offer up the wisdom that comes as we attend to the value of our own experience. Help us to receive the projections of others with a grain of salt and to refrain from undue projecting upon others, that we may all retain access to the larger truth that calls us to a larger love. We give thanks for this company of strangers and friends who accompany us on this journey, and for the luxury of time and space to reflect upon the meaning of our lives and the impact we have upon the future. May the burdens of this day be lightened and our joys expanded by this time in each other's presence. So may it be. Amen.
Intertwined with every thought is a tender strength that life has wrought. There's a hope, a fear, a love or grief, braided through each deep belief. Intertwined, intertwined, that is how we're all designed. Look within and you will find heart and mind intertwined.
Listen to the daily bread and the nightly bread. Listen to the newborn baby and the empty chair. Listen to the promise made and the story told. Listen to the hidden need and the inner goal. Listen to the open hand and the furrowed brow. Listen to the long lost dream and the here and now. Listen to the sum of all the broken parts. A meeting of the mind begins with a meeting of the hearts. Intertwined with every thought is the tender strain that life has wrought. There's a hope, a fear, a love or grief, braided through each deep belief. Listen to the open hand and the furrowed brow. Listen to the long lost dream and the here and now. Look within and you will find hearts and mind intertwined with a meeting of the heart. Intertwined.
The Guest House by Rumi. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thoughts, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond.
One of the many honors regularly bestowed upon ministers is the privilege of accompanying families in the preparation and delivery of memorial events. Whether it's a funeral where the body is present, a memorial service or celebration of life, or a memorial celebration with or without cremains, these events are an opportunity to bring together family and friends, acquaintances, co-workers perhaps, to remember, to honor, to mourn, to lift up and give thanks for a life now completed. More often than not, the central theme of these services, especially in the Unitarian Universalist tradition, is the naming of the legacy. We use many means to do that here: eulogy, remembrances, a collage of voices that reflect something of the individual and collective impact of the life of the dearly departed. These public events draw together individuals who have experienced wildly varying experiences, imprinted memories that they wish to share or have confirmed by others they may or may not know, to find answers to long-held curiosities, as well as to offer and receive support and condolences for the shared loss. But even the most venerable among us seldom have a memorial event that lasts more than a couple of hours, including the reception where the familiar and sometimes surprising connections generate new stories or trigger old memories that give added value to superficial assumptions. I remember one unsettling event where a previous spouse showed up who nobody in the family knew about. And as often as not, I hear people say things like, "Oh, I never knew that he liked sailing or cooking or was part of the Foreign Service." And most poignant for me always are those, often children or grandchildren, who actually get to know their parents or their grandparents for the first time from the short stories that they hear from the pulpit that day or read in the obituary. When my own father died, my daughter was 14 years old, and sometime after the memorial, her English teacher assigned a series of autobiographical essays. One of the topics was saying goodbye. She wrote about her grandpa's memorial event. Many people shared stories, she wrote, funny stories, stories of his kindness and helpfulness to others, stories about his practical jokes and his love of books and reading. And then she went on. As we were leaving, a woman came up to me and, seeing my tear-stained face, asked, "Were you close to your grandpa?" I am now, she said. It is remarkable how many times I hear friends and families note in passing during the reception, oh, he or she or they would have loved this. Sometimes I wonder, how would the dead receive this representation of their own stories? Would they be surprised or disappointed or relieved by this picture of a whole life distilled into the most generous portrayal of their being and dispatched in half a column headed by a photo taken at the wedding in Baltimore, an 18-minute eulogy delivered by a stranger? Where, I wonder, does the rest of the story go? I have heard from many people who later in life, or even those who with curiosity and courage are facing their final days, say, I don't care what they say at my memorial, I'll be dead, and they can say whatever they want. This certainly goes to understanding that there is a reality we cannot control, and that we can't control what others believe or say about us, or even when we're alive. But this is more than resignation. I think many of us do care. Where, I wonder, does the rest of the story go? The story not simply about the outcomes, but about the process of growth and learning, of damage and repair, of lessons learned and intentions fulfilled, of disappointments and recoveries, of false starts, and the will to begin again and again, or is in this morning's song, row by row, our hearts are changed. The stories of not just the so-called successes and failures, but the stories of self-acceptance and compassion for oneself and others that fuel the will of movement toward a legacy worthy of remembrance when we are dead. Legacy, it is said, focuses on what endures. It's about the passing on of things of lasting values to those who live on after us. Legacy ultimately involves living intentionally and aiming to build into the next generation possibilities for their own success. Passing on things of lasting values to live on after us. Would that we could box up our best wisdom with the bone china and the stamp collection with the Elvis Presley Madagascar edition, and the saving bonds left by Aunt Marjorie with a note to your only grandchild to be opened on their 25th birthday, accepting the possibility that after the china and the stamps have been sold on Facebook Marketplace and the savings bonds cashed in to pay for a deposit on the new condo in a subdivision of Detroit, all that will be left is the box that will carry the video equipment to the new digs. And then, in the poetry of time, the grandchild might come to an age when they will, in a moment of wistful remembering, tell the story of the grandparent whose creative generosity made it possible to start a new phase of their journey. And there it is, our best wisdom in the box after all. In this case, the recognition of the value, the legacy of creative generosity. This is one place where we see ourselves in the larger story. The complexity of human life and legacy is embedded in the reality that each of us is on a unique journey whose beginning and end we do not choose, but which at the same time impacts and is impacted by the journeys of others. We are born into families of individuals, each of whom is somewhere on their own unique journey, jockeying for a lead in their own story. If we are lucky, we show up in families who have already accumulated and integrated enough of the physical, emotional, spiritual, vocational, relational resources to create an environment that makes space for somebody else's unique unfolding. Healthy stories need space and support to unfold, but hardly any of us grows up in a controlled environment that offers quite enough of that space. Adrienne Rich captures this reality exquisitely in her poem, Transcendental Etude. She says, "No one ever told us we had to study our lives, make of our lives a study as if learning natural history or music, that we should begin with the simple exercises first and slowly grow on trying the hard ones, practicing until strength and accuracy become one with the daring to leap into transcendence. Take the chance of breaking down the wild arpeggio or faulting the full sentence of the fugue." And in fact, we can't live like that. We take on everything at once before we've even begun to read or mark time. We are forced to begin in the midst of the hardest movement, the one that's already sounding as we are born. And the movement sounding when our parents were born, and their parents, and the children of today. The stories that shape us, the stories we shape with others, are not simply of the acknowledged outcomes in our living after we are dead, but by the processes we witness and share of growth and learning, of damage and repair, of lessons learned and intentions fulfilled, of disappointments and recoveries of false starts, and the will to begin again and again. The stories of not just the so-called successes and failures, but the stories of self-acceptance, forgiveness, and compassion for oneself and others that fuel the will to movement toward a legacy worthy of remembrance that is created in the juiciness of living. Legacy, it is said, focuses on what will endure. It's about the passing on of things of lasting values, who will live after us. Legacy involves living intentionally and aiming to build into the next generation for their success. But this is not a theology of perfectibility. It is a theology of faith in human growth potential. It asks that we live with an awareness of the value we receive from the examples and support of others, and the value of the examples and support we make available to others who are in different places on their journey. For better and for worse, how many of us have been motivated by examples of others who are in a different place on their journey? One might call them gifts of negative legacy. At one point in my life, I got a degree in school administration because I thought I could make a different kind of difference in the lives of teachers and students than the administrators I observed, who seemed to be stuck in another century. I have wept in my office with a man committed to being a better father than his own, a man plagued by generations of parental neglect. I have rejoiced with a woman celebrating 5 years of sobriety, declaring herself free from generations of substance abuse. You all have your own examples of breaking away from histories that do not serve you. You all have examples of people whose accomplishments and ways of showing up in the world inspire you. Remember, in all cases, that it is not the accomplishments that most fully embody this legacy. It is always the larger story, the one that includes elements of your own struggle to carry these legacies you can claim, spirits you can allow to infuse your own future, and the gift you leave to the next generation. A legacy captures your life and lessons learned along the way, or celebrates things that were most important to you, such as causes or interests. Having lasting legacy means that you share those deeper meanings and complexity with friends and families in posterity. More and more, I am convinced that we ought not to leave this to chance. We may not find a ready audience who are at different points in their journey to tell the larger story. We can try. I try to slip in little parts of my legacy, my process of becoming who I am with my children and my grandchildren, who sometimes listen politely. But at least I think we can begin to make a written or recorded account of the parts of our stories that might most powerfully touch those who will follow us. Resources abound for doing this. Google legacy, contact me, form a group. Feel the love and acceptance for the complexity, the uniqueness, and the commonalities of your fellow travelers. Share your deep stories with the people that sometimes you think you only share casual acquaintance. As much as we've tried to rewrite history or forget some aspects of it, humans have always desired to mark the passing of time. In the midst of what seems like the unpredictability of life, we have sought to mark the natural rhythms of life, the rising of the sun and its setting, the changing seasons, births and deaths. All of these commemorations have provided us with roots. They have shaped the sense of who we are, our identity. In turn, our identity has helped to build relationships with others and relate to the outside world. So we write history books, hold commemorative events, and tell stories so we won't forget. Because in forgetting, we lose something of ourselves and the lessons from past generations. Memorial events of all kinds have held their value over centuries and will do so for as long as any of us will be remembered. It will be a privilege for the likes of me to preside and support the grieving and to encourage the living. The way I continue to do that is to offer at the end of each memorial service a charge to the congregation, an invitation to carry forth the best of what has been offered of the completed story of this individual. Plant a tree, I say. Sing a song. Love a child. Listen deeply. Forgive a slight. Repair a rift. Drink a toast and give thanks for the life of the beloved. And I might now add, make those parts of your own story and claim the struggle to make them real and part of a larger story of us all. And in the words of the poet, welcome and entertain the guests at your door. If they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thoughts, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. So may it be so.
Your support of the church is an expression of the promises we make to each other and to the world. The contributions you make enable us to do the work we have pledged to do within our church community and out in the world. Each Sunday, the majority of our offering is passed on to community partners with whom we share common cause. If you would like to nominate an organization to receive our Sunday offering, please complete the nomination form found on Unity's website. Today, the larger portion of our offering will be shared with Project Home, a partnership of organizations providing overnight shelter for area families experiencing homelessness. In 2021, as a response to housing needs during the pandemic, Interfaith Action formed a partnership with the Sisters of St. Joseph of Carondelet and Ramsey County to move Project Home to the Provincial House on Randolph Avenue in St. Paul. In this supportive environment, families have a safe place to live, as well as assistance with finding employment and permanent affordable housing. This collection will provide bedding and cookware for Project Home guests. Will the ushers please come forward? Please give as generously as you can today. We dedicate these offerings and ourselves to the greater work of the church, which is weaving a tapestry of love we call community.
If you get it in your head you're gonna marry my daughter, I ain't gonna jump for joy. But I'll give her away and I'll dance at your wedding like you're any other hometown boy. And if you take my job, you'd better believe I'm gonna know the reason why. But I'll defend your right to an honest day's work, and I'll do it till the day I die. For I follow a man who ate with lepers and the blind and the poor and the tax collectors, people in jail and them that fail and them whose luck has flown. Set a place at the table for the heartbeat, set a place at the table for the bone. No one at this table eats alone. If you steal my horse in the dark of night, I'll curse your sorry head. But if then I learn that your children starve, I'll bring them meat and bread. For I've got my mind and I've got my fist, and I know I've got my pride. But if I'm not man enough to bend, I'll best get off this ride. For I follow a man who ate with lepers and the blind and the poor and the tax collectors, people in jail and them that fail and them whose luck has flown. Set a place at the table for the heartbeat, set a place at the table for a bone. No one at this table eats alone. If I chance to hear you've got another wee one coming soon, I will set my mind on the own dear lass, me sun and stars and moon. Oh, I may not like your politics, and I may detest your name, but I'll grit my teeth and I'll buy you a pint, and I'll toast you all the same. For I follow a man who ate with the lepers and the blind and the poor and the tax collectors, people in jail and them that fail and them whose luck has flown. Set a place at the table for the heartbeat, set a place at the table for the bone. No one at this table eats alone.
And now the charge to go forth for today is that Unity is having a garage sale at the end of this month on July 27th, 28th, and 29th. And here's your opportunity to engage in the legacy of Unity Church. We still need volunteers, particularly during the day of the sale and on the Monday following. Lighten your load, donate your good stuff. We'll be accepting donations from Sunday, July 23rd through Wednesday, July 26th. If you have large items that require help, please contact Heidi at the church, and you can go to the website and read Unity's emails about, read the Unity email for more details on how you can volunteer. And now, drum roll. We have a drum roll. On behalf of the nominating committee, I would like to welcome Laura Sue Schlater for a special announcement.
Good morning. I'm Laura Sue Schlater, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. I'm here this morning to invite you to apply to be on the board for the 2024 to 26 term. So there are 3 barriers that we hear about over and over again. 1, you don't have enough time. Well, that may be true. But you know, we're really good at supporting one another. If you need to step back for a bit, chances are another board member will step up to help you. You can even attend board meetings from time to time on Zoom if you need to. 2, you've never been on a board before. We know that can be intimidating, but we provide training to board members, and again, we have each other's backs. We're not there to be scary to each other. And 3, you think of yourself as an outsider at church. We know how that feels. Let me tell you, we are all outsiders here. We're a bunch of Unitarian Universalists. It is inspiring to meet and collaborate with people to ensure that unity lives into its ends, to think about who we want to be in the future. Everyone on the board has a voice, and the board wants very much to hear diverse voices. You might have more reasons to think you shouldn't apply to be on the board. Don't wait. Applications are due by July 15th. Please stop at the board table in the parish hall today and talk to us or contact any board member. See how you feel after a conversation about it. We are looking for people just like you. Thank you.
Please rise in body or in spirit and join in our closing hymn, Just as Long as I Have Breath. And now, dear friends, the benediction that I love with all my heart. May the peace which passes understanding, which the world can neither give nor take away, be and abide with you all. Go in peace, but stay around for our wonderful benediction, or postlude. That was a wonderful benediction.
Good morning, everyone. Feel free to remain standing, and pickup choir, please come forward. So this summer we'll be doing something we're calling a pickup choir. Folks show up an hour before the service, learn a couple of songs to sing together, and this one I invite you to join us in singing. This is called 1 Foot. It is by my friend Melanie Damore, Unitarian Universalist, the music director and founder of the Oakland Interfaith Gospel Choir in California. And I think these folks are almost ready. And because I'm going to clap, I'm going to use this microphone instead. And so I invite you to clap with me. Yep, don't leave me clapping by myself. 1 foot in front of the other. Lead with love. Put 1 foot in front of the other. And lead with love. You gotta put 1 foot in front of the other. Lead with love, put 1 foot in front of the other, and lead with love. Don't give up hope. Don't give up hope. You're not alone. Don't you give up. Don't you give up. Keep moving on. Keep moving on. You got it. 1 foot in front of the other, and lead with love. 1 foot in front of the other. Your eyes. Don't you despair. Look up ahead. The path is there. You gotta put 1 foot in front of the other. Put 1 foot. 1 foot, 1 foot. Lead with love. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot in front. Scared. And I'm scared too. But here I am. Right next to you. You gotta put 1 foot. Everyone.